on my words on the edge of sombrero. The gringo, sing flows, yes, the cockatoid. Kill Agnes with a glance from the pupil of annoyed. A mic stored in underwear drawers of my dresser. Rhymes from True God, yours is child of Melissa. A lowercase G hanging under the bar. My G's above and beyond and shining bright from afar like North Star. Guided me to Gibson, the manger, Dr. Stranger. Like Blase Blah, bringing danger. Inferno, subharmonico sick. Stand tall, surfing ink from Vic. Push the click, now I'm running. Leading down the L-pen shaft. And spin a phonograph to exercise a paragraph. Epitaph, from killing off the flesh with 808. A low frequency to give you something to hate. We tie words up tight with lasso. With art from Ozo, Pablo Picasso. And paintbrush in my
Joe's shirt is still off the cuff. Oh, yes, I am. I am still off the cuff. It's been a rough 10 days or so since my last show. Mostly because I'm working more these days, and I'm getting up very early to go into a very early shift, which is good because, you know, I get done early, but then by the time I get back, I'm so tired, I don't really feel like doing much of anything else. I mean, I'm getting up at about 5 o'clock in the morning every day, Monday through Friday, so I can be at work at 7, which means that before I go to work, I have to, you know, get my ass up, which is not easy to do. You know, clean myself off, brush my teeth, you know, shower, shave if I need to, get dressed, walk the dog, have some breakfast, communicate with my lovely girlfriend for at least a couple of minutes before she gets off to work, you know. So the mornings are tiring, and then I go to work, and I'm there until about noon, and when I get home, I'm just so tired. I'm just adjusting to my schedule right now. And it's not even necessarily a permanent schedule. They might change it on me next week. You know, this week, once again, I am at work at 7 o'clock in the morning every day, Monday through Friday. And then I'm the dumbass. I actually told one of my coworkers that I would cover for her on Sunday night. That's how much of a dumbass I am. But there you go. That is why you have not heard much from me lately. It's just I've just been out of it. You know, I come home and I just want to vegetate in front of the television. That's really pretty much it, you know. But let's discuss other things today. You may have noticed that the title of the show is The Last Show. That is my own little April Fool's prank. Obviously, I have no intention of stopping this. I just wanted to throw it out there. It is April Fool's Day. It is April 1st in the year of our Lord, 2014. It's also, believe it or not, my anniversary. Yes, my girlfriend and I celebrate 9 years together today. And in traditional anniversary of ours, we don't do anything for our anniversary, ever. I mean, in the 9 years that we've been together, we have never done anything for our anniversary. And I have to tell you, I wouldn't have it any other way. You know, we're not married. You know, that's just the day we started dating, and it's just kind of funny that it's April 1st. You know, that's when we made it official. I mean, before that, yeah, we were fucking around a lot, you know. But April 1st is when we decided, okay, we're going to be exclusive, just me and you, the occasional hooker, but just me and you for the most part. Okay, all right. What else is going on? Well, tomorrow is actually the Russian's birthday, and she will hit the ripe old age of... In case you didn't hear that, the Russian's age is... That's her age. I'm sticking to that. You know what? The Russian is actually not one of these women that is overly concerned with, say, the number, you know... But it's her number to tell, not mine. So I'm not going to tell you guys what the number is. It's you know, I think it's safe enough. I think it's fair enough that you already know I'm 43. So there you go. Okay, you know, you can extrapolate from that what you will. But yeah, but it is her birthday tomorrow, and we have dinner reservations at this little French restaurant, Le Petit Bistrot, not too far from here. Hopefully it'll be nice. And hold on one second. Jack, stop fucking licking yourself so fucking much. Jesus Christ, give your dick a break. My dog is licking himself. But yes, we are going out tomorrow night. Not overly excessive plans, first and foremost, because I still don't have a lot of money on me, and I don't expect her to pay an exorbitant amount of money for her birthday dinner. So instead, we're keeping it simple, so that way I can actually pay for it. Things will get better. I have complete confidence in that. I feel better and better about it. And I think that a happy relationship is, whether or not you decide that it's a happy relationship. If you're happy with the one you're with, doesn't matter where they take you to dinner, doesn't matter how often you go to the movies. It's as long as you do the things that you guys enjoy doing, and there isn't a whole lot of resentment about it. And I shoot for that. Of course, I would love to be able to do more for her. Right now, I can't. But when I am able to do so again, I will. And there you have it. Now, it is April Fool's Day. It's a very unofficial holiday, actually, when you really think about it. It's very unofficial. Nobody has it. No country has it as an official holiday on their calendar. It's not a government holiday. It's not a religious holiday. And yet it's celebrated the world wide over, man. We're not just talking like the Americas. We're talking like Europe, Asia, South America. It's celebrated all over the world, though not necessarily on April 1st. I did a little research, not too much. I didn't want to make this too research heavy, like I did last time for was it St. Patrick's Day or Kwanzaa or Yom Kippur or Christmas. I just did a little research. Okay, some of the historic holidays related to April Fool's Day or prank holidays. Goes back as far back as a Roman holiday known as, aptly enough, Hilaria. That's right, it's called Hilaria, which was celebrated on March 25th. In medieval times, they had something called the Feast of Fools, which was December 28th. And believe it or not, the oldest prank holiday tradition in the world, actually Iran. Believe it or not, Iran has. Who knew they were so wacky and fun? They have the oldest prank tradition in the world. It's known as the Persian New Year, or Nowruz, which is celebrated April 1st or the 2nd, depending on the year. And yeah, I'm not exactly sure what kind of pranks they pull. Throw throw a grenade into a bus and it actually doesn't go off. It's a dud. It's like, got you. You thought it was going to blow up. Now, the United Kingdom has a interesting tradition with in terms of April Fool's Day, where they where what you do is you take a sealed envelope and you give it to somebody. And you tell them to take it to somebody else and tell them to only give it to that person. Do not open it yourself. Make sure to give it to this person, and it's very, very urgent. So then the person goes to the person that you sent them to. They open up the envelope, read it, and what it tells them is to continue to send the messenger to somebody else. And then they close the envelope, they reseal it, they give it back to the guy, and then he keeps going, and then the next person does the exact same thing. It just basically he's the fool, the messenger is the fool. In Scandinavian newspapers, it is traditional to publish one false story, exactly one, in the newspapers. So if you happen to, be in any Scandinavian country whatsoever, and you see a newspaper story that says, Barack Obama actually Jewish, that's probably a crock. You might want to, might want to hold off on that one. Now, one of the biggest April Fool's Day pranks actually comes from our friends in the United Kingdom, from of all places, the BBC. Now, the BBC is the United Kingdom's big time network, whatever, news channel and entertainment programming, and you see a lot of their shows here, especially with that Doctor Who and the Sherlock Holmes. Well, back in 1957, the BBC pulled a prank on its viewers where they did where they went to these allegedly Swiss farms so they could watch the farmers harvest fresh spaghetti from the spaghetti plants that they had planted there. Now, they did this as a joke. Obviously, spaghetti does not come from spaghetti plants. But it was so convincing that the next day the BBC was inundated with phone calls and letters wanting to know where people could buy a spaghetti plant. Now, see, this is where you have to appreciate Adolf Hitler. Hold on a second, and hold on. Don't touch that dial. Adolf Hitler was very famous for many, many things, but one of the things he's very famous for saying is that if you're going to tell a lie, tell a huge lie. Tell a lie so big that nobody would believe you would ever lie about something like that. Okay? That's the problem. You see, that's what's really important about a good prank or a good lie, is it has to be big enough to convince the person you're telling it to. A lot of times when you hear a little lie, you're thinking to yourself, hey, wait a minute. That doesn't sound quite right. That doesn't sound... But when you hear a lie that's absolutely huge, it's just so big that, if somebody were to find out that it actually is a lie, people would get in trouble. People would die. Governments would crumble. Nobody wants to believe that is a lie. They just assume you're telling them the truth. And that's where really where a good prank really comes from, isn't it? Now, you got to tell the biggest lie you possibly can. Now, I personally am not a big fan of the prank. And a prank, by definition, is it's a joke you play on somebody that convinces them of something, this, that, or the other thing that could be potentially bad news, potentially great news, and then you go, ha, I can't believe you fell for that. I'm not a big fan of the prank, that kind of prank. I'm also not a big fan, of physical pranks. I was never into a lot too much physical humor, especially when somebody is the victim in a joke. I've always believed that the funniest jokes are the ones that you can share together. The jokes that you let somebody in on. One of the most famous comedians we have here in the United States is Andy Kaufman, and Andy Kaufman, was very, very famous for pushing the joke so far that you would have no idea he was telling you a joke, that he was doing a joke, that he was doing a bit. And his biggest crime, and it's also his biggest genius, was that he wasn't letting you in on the joke. That was allegedly his genius there, that he was pushing the envelope so much, he was pushing the joke so far that it didn't feel like a joke anymore. It sounded like it was real. And that just makes him an asshole, as far as I'm concerned. I think that, if you really want to entertain an audience, sooner or later you got to let them in on the joke. You got to let them know that you're just fucking with them. Because otherwise, you just get a really resentful audience. In that vein, we're going to take a break. I'm Joe the Shirt. I'm off the cuff. Our first song today was Tight with Lasso. Don't know what that means exactly, but it was by Absolute, Mr. True, and Ilharmonics. Our next song is Wake Up by Amiga Man. I'm Joe the Shirt. I'm off the cuff, and I'll be right back. Bringing you down, but Joe the Shirt's still off the cuff. Know what I'm saying, yo? Welcome back, everybody. Joe the Shirt's off the cuff. What's going on in the world as we know it? Well, let's take a look. Has anybody been keeping up with what's going on in the Ukraine? Anybody at all? Does anybody know where the Ukraine is, by any chance? It's over there in Europe, right next to Russia, right there. Well, lots been going on. I'm sure you guys have been hearing a lot about it. I've just been like obsessed with it, and it's so there's so much material on it. There's so much going on. There's so much back and forth, and so many political agendas here, and. I'm going to be honest with you. I still have not been able to wrap my mind around it completely, other than the fact that I saw it coming months ago, even before the Olympics. I remember I was talking to my girlfriend, the Russian, about this, who is actually Ukrainian. She's from the Ukraine, and I remember telling her about this and letting her know that sooner or later, Vladimir Putin is going to make a power grab somewhere, in Europe around the old Soviet socialist republics, the ones that, they let go somehow. And my big tip off there was, that the Ukrainian president had accepted something like a $460 million loan from Russia, as well as getting a price break on natural gas from them. To the point where they were paying, paying less than 60% of market value, and this was at a time where the Ukraine was incredibly split between people that wanted to go with Russia, join the Russian Union. It's not a political union per se, but more like an economic union, much like the European Union, which the other half of the Ukraine wanted to go with. They wanted to go with the European Union. But they were split on that. And when the Ukrainian president took this loan without really clearing through the proper channels, he was basically saying, yeah, we're going to go with Russia, even though nothing had been agreed upon yet. The Ukrainian president asked the European Union for a loan of about $1 billion to help float them along, so they could, keep their keep their economy running. And European Union said they weren't sure about that. They would have to work on that. I mean, they're already dealing with Spain and Greece, who are like in the hole. We're talking about like 25, 30% unemployment rates, And so now they were looking at possibly, picking up all the slack on the Ukraine, which they didn't want to do. And so they balked a little bit on that one. And so then Russia stepped in and said, hey, We'll lend you the money. We'll help you out. We'll cut prices on this, that, the other thing. All you got to do is, when it comes time to, pick a side, you go with us. And that's basically what's happening. Vladimir Putin, it's like he's a kid playing Monopoly over there. He's just taking up properties left and right. They've already taken Crimea, which is an itty-bitty little portion of Ukraine, but it's a very essential portion of Ukraine because it's a port. And what's really hysterical is that, then you got Vladimir Putin who's telling everybody that, hey, I don't want an armed conflict here. I don't want there to be any fighting. I'm just putting my troops in there to help out. And then during all this, everybody's wondering, hey, where's the Ukrainian president? Oh, yeah, he's in Moscow. During the entire Olympics, I could see it on Putin's face. I really could. You could see it in his eyes. As all the old Soviet states, were walking through the parade of countries and whatever. He could see it on his face. It's like, soon, very soon you will be back. Like the Emperor from Star Wars is like, I can feel your hatred. And sure enough, he went for it. And, now, and of course, the United States, Barack Obama, he gave his response to that, which was, hey, now you stop that. But it was very stern. Hey, now you stop that. Very stern, exactly. And what did they do? They told them that, there was going to be economic sanctions against them. And what they did was they told, American banks and businesses that a certain bank in that part of the world we do not do business with, which does not cripple Russia in any way, really, other than make it really, really inconvenient for a lot of its political leaders to handle their finances. Basically putting a freeze on them. And Putin is going to do what he does. He's not. I don't think he's overly concerned. I mean, Putin. He's like straight up, old school, Cold War kind of Russian kind of guy. All right. He is not bothered in the slightest by what the United States will or will not do. It's not like we're talking about Iraq. Okay, we're not talking about Syria. We're not talking about, Iran or any of these other little shitty countries. We're talking about fucking Russia. And Putin knows that as tough as the United States may be, economically, militarily, they know that the U.S. is really not going to risk all-out war with one of the biggest powers in the entire world. They know they don't want to do it. I mean, the old USSR was able to just grab countries left and right and saying that it was for their own good, and we didn't do anything about it. It's not too far from what Adolf Hitler was doing. Hey, going back to Hitler again. When he was just grabbing countries left and right, invading countries left and right, and people were just like, well, okay, maybe we just give him this much, he'll stop. No, he'll take more, actually. And this is what's going on now. This, and mind you, I will be the first one to admit to you that I do not have all the facts. There's so much material here. I've been wanting to sit down and really just wade through it and really peruse it and really study it. I'm giving you the New York Post abridged version of what's going on over there. Okay, I will be the first one to admit I really do not know everything that's going on, the hows, the whens, the whys. But just as a normal human being, just like the rest of you, just what you see in the newspaper for a second, or online for a second, or on TV on the news for a second, you get this idea of what's going on, and you're confused. I know I am. I mean, there's just so much there. I mean, was it Russia? They went off. They sunk one of their own ships to block access to the Ukraine. And I mean, these are for the most part considered acts of war, but they're not considered acts of war by the Russians, of course, because they are responding to the Ukrainian president's request for aid against rebels, also known as his own people. So, and of course, then there's the real other side of this is like, well, is it really our fucking business? A lot of people will tell you that the United States has a really, really bad habit of trying to be the police of the fucking of the fucking world. You know, we try to like make sure everybody plays nice. You know, we try to make sure that nobody steals other people's toys. Nobody hits. You know, everybody uses their words. Trevor, but and so you know we like to think the United States likes to think of itself as you know the hall monitor basically of the planet, you know, making sure everybody plays nice. And I suppose a lot of people get really upset with that. I know a lot of my friends do. They get very pissed off that, you know, the United States sticks its big fat nose into other fucking countries' businesses. I mean, I want you to imagine, you know, you are a sovereign country, and somebody, like say the United States, tells you you can't do any nuclear testing. But it's my country. I can do whatever I want. No, you can't. I mean, think about it. The United States has had nuclear weapons for God knows how much fucking time, yet we go around trying to tell other countries, like Iran, hey, you can't do that. And they're like, but you did it. Yeah, but we can handle it. You can't. You're stupid. You know, that's basically what they're saying. Now, how essential is the Ukraine to the United States? Well, for the most part, not really essential at all. I mean, honestly, go ahead. Find me Ukraine on the map. I dare you. Find me Crimea. Good luck. But when the United States does do something like this, like where they stick their nose into other people's business, you know, anybody can say, hey, you know, what do we care if Russia is taking over the Ukraine? What do we care if Russia's taking, you know, over Crimea or Afghanistan or Pakistan or any of the stands? What do we care? Well, for the most part, we don't care. But what happens when they move in on a country that we do care about? Like, say, I don't know, Israel, England, Spain. You know what? What happens then? Well, then the United States will go absolutely fucking ballistic on your ass, and you got a drone going right up your fucking ass. But we don't want to look like we're playing favorites. So anytime that there's a country that is invading another country that's smaller, weaker, we like to go in there and say, hey, that's not cool. Put it back. Hey, don't make me repeat myself. Put it back, young man. That's basically what we're doing. And I understand the whys and the wherefores, but at the same time, I don't. You know, I guess my question is, do we really, as a country, is it really our place to decide that somebody else is wrong with their little wars, you know, or their big wars or whatever, you know? I mean, as the United States, we go and like bomb the fuck out of any country that has brown people on a pretty regular fucking basis, you know? Brown, black, yellow, the occasional Slavic white. Yeah, we love just bombing the fuck out of those people, you know? You know, and then we call it relief efforts, and we call it aid. We call it a police action. We don't call it going to war. Is what we don't. We don't do that very often. We don't go to war. We take certain strategic actions against others that may or may not involve a drone going up someone's ass. And it's time for a break. Our next song here is by Andrea Loco, and this is Fat Boss. I'm Joe the Shirt, and I'm off the cuff. Joe the Shirt is off the cuff and back. Okay, I don't think there's any vocals in this song. Welcome back, everybody. I was thinking to myself, wow, this is like one of the longest intros ever. How about a little local news, shall we? Okay. Here's a question for you. What would you do if you were, say, a clerk in a liquor store or grocery store, and two children, let's say they're 3 and 2 years old, walk into your store, they're wearing diapers, and that's it. No shoes, no shirt. Normally you throw them out because they have no shoes and no shirt, no service. But, you know, they're children, they're 3 years old. And these two children walk up to you and ask you if you could spare them a loaf of bread because they're hungry. Now, this is horrible. What makes it even more horrible is this is not the first time that this has happened. Apparently, there were two hungry children who were wandering the streets of South Los Angeles about 2 weeks ago when they walked into a liquor store searching for a loaf of bread. They were heading across to the busy Manchester Boulevard. Kids were, like I said, both in soiled diapers and 2 and 3 years old. Turns out their mom was indisposed, also known as drugged and whacked out of her mind. The children and their mother had been under the direct supervision of Los Angeles County's Child Protective Services Agency. The family was enrolled in a program designed to help the mother keep her children while learning to be a better parent. Sounds like somebody slipped. Allegedly, the Department of Children and Family Services had allowed the mother, 32-year-old Sidnika Wilson, to enter the program for relatively low-risk families, even though she had lost her 6 older children to the foster care system. Okay, so let me get this straight. This bitch is 32 years old. She had already lost 6 of her kids for being an unfit mother, and they went to the foster care program. She had 2 more, 3 and 2, so pretty quick succession there. And she was enrolled in a program to make her a better mother, but her kids are walking around in dirty diapers on the streets of Los Angeles, begging for food from liquor stores. Yes, I'd like to say that I think the system is broken down just a little bit. This Sidnika Wilson has been previously arrested for charges of prostitution, drug possession, and child endangerment. We're going to give her another chance anyway. Okay, yes, all right, yes. She fucked up on the first 6. Okay, 6, yeah, okay. But these 2, I think she's got it nailed. I think she can help these guys out. I'll be the first one to tell you, man, not everybody should be a parent. Okay, you really shouldn't. One of the things I've often said is that, you go out into the animal kingdom, you don't find lions whose mommy didn't love them and hug them enough. You know why? Because those lions tend to die as young cubs. That's why. All right? If you have a bad parent in the jungle, in the wild, in the forest, you're dead. Here, you get to live impoverished, and they give you back to the crazy bitch that fucked you up in the first place. One of the things that has always bothered me is the idea that we have a right to procreate. Okay, I don't think that's a right. I don't think it should be a right. You should get a license. I'm sorry, you need a license to have a dog. You need a license to have a car. But any fucking moron can have a baby. It amazes me. It's considered one of the principal rights as a human being this is the right to procreate. There was a story. Oh God, I can't remember the name of the woman now. Of a woman who drowned all 5 of her children, one after the other, in a bathtub, including I think it was an 8-year-old. She started out with drowning, the baby, then the toddlers, and then she drowned her 8-year-old, who struggled fiercely, but she still drowned him. And the reason why is she was off her meds, she was depressed, and for some reason it got somewhere into her thick skull that the only way to make things better would be to kill her children. All right. She's crazy. That's fine. She goes to jail or a mental hospital for the rest of her life. Her husband is still with her, still by her side, and they want to get pregnant again. They want more kids. I'm like, well, no, you can't have any more kids. No, you can't. You know what? You drowned the first 5. I mean, if you only drowned like 1 or 2, maybe, but you drowned all 5 of them, I don't think it's a good idea. Yes, I'm making light of this, but I only make light of it because it is such a horrible thing. It's so fucking horrible. The idea that, somebody can go off and murder their own children and yet somehow have the legal right to have more. Okay? What people don't seem to understand is that, just because you're a parent doesn't mean that your rights supersede the rights of the child. They don't. Just because you brought them into this world does not mean you can take them out. Personally, I'm like just shocked by the dad in this story. I mean, could you imagine that? It's like you're a dad. You go up, you get up, you go to work, come back home, long day at work. You want to see your kids, and hey, honey, I'm home. Where are the kids? I couldn't imagine something like that. I mean, the other day I was talking to the Russian. I was walking down the street, and I saw a man walking down the street towards me. And he was just a regular-looking guy, nothing particularly, eye-catching about him, But at some point, a car door opens, and a kid, I'm assuming his, I hope, gets out of the car door and starts walking towards him and starts running towards him. And this man's face just lit up. It was amazing. It was just, his eyes began to smile. He began to smile. His entire expression, his physical demeanor just changed immediately. Where before he was slouching a little bit, now he was standing up with all this great pride. His chest was actually, billowing out. And then the kid runs up to him, and the guy picks him up, and and it was absolutely amazing. I'm never gonna feel that. I'm not gonna have any kids. I don't think it's a good idea. But, to those of you guys out there that did decide to have kids, and you love your kids, and you're good to them, and you're proud of them, and you're happy you have them, that's amazing. So I could not imagine being that kind of father and then coming home and finding out that the woman that you love, that you married, killed all of them. Or endangered them in some bizarre way. I mean, to the point, or even just like Sidnika Wilson here, where, by the way, the kids were 2 out of 8 of kids with, I think, 5 fathers. Sidnika gets around. But I don't think you should have the right to have children. I think that before we entrust you with the life of another, we got to try to make sure that you're not going to fuck it up. And I'm not talking about the normal stuff that parents do. All parents fuck up their kids one way or the other. They're gonna. Okay? We're gonna. It's just the way it is. By what we teach them, what we say to them, what we show them, how we exemplify ourselves to them, we're going to fuck up our kids. It's going to happen, That's fine. But I'm talking about, where you get to the point where you are actually a real threat and danger to your children. That's where someone's got to draw the line. That's where somebody's got to go, okay, not only are we going to take them away from you, we're not going to let you have any more. Now, there was a story I did some months back about a women's prison where several female inmates had been sterilized. They had not officially approved of this. They were bullied into it, or they had the procedure done to them without their knowledge. They went under, and then snip, snip, they did it. I don't think that's right. I think that if you're going to take a step this huge, where you are going to tell somebody, we're not going to let you have children anymore, they should let you know about it. Okay, I don't believe that you should just, randomly and secretly, deny people anything. I mean, you got to figure out, where do you draw the line, between human rights and rights of a human. There's a difference. Right now, when it comes to, say, a pedophile, a sex offender, has to register as a registered sex offender. Anywhere he goes, he has to report to the police and say, hey, by the way, I'm a registered sex offender, I'm a pedophile, whatever, and here I am, I'm just letting you know what's going on. Now, does this guy have the right to start dating a woman? Absolutely. Does he have the right to get married? Absolutely. Does he have the right to have children with this woman? There gets a little iffy, doesn't it? Where do you draw the line? The right to procreate, I don't think it should be a right. Really, you should have get some testing. See if you're really qualified. It's a delicate subject. I know that much. It's not one that anybody's ever really going to agree on, especially for the more religious nuts out there who believe that, every child is a blessing from God, blah, 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 blah. But, if every child is a blessing from God, don't we have a moral responsibility to protect that blessing from those that would do it harm, including the parents? And in that vein, shouldn't we prevent those parents from having children that they can be abusive to? Anyway, that's my time for today. Thank you for listening. I know I got a little heavy over there at the end, but like I said, I had a lot of shit I had to say, and it's been about 10 days, and the demons were just all over me. Okay, our last song today is from Los Banditos. It's called Los Banditos, and here's by Aquarius Blue. I'm Joe the Shirt, and I've been off the cuff. Thank you for listening.